Today we'll explore Athens, Georgia, and learn about its most powerful and prominent family in the mid-19th century. Athens in the 21st century is a large city of over 200,000 people, but in 1850, only about 1,700 people lived here. The town was established in 1806 and was named after Athens in Greece, the center of learning in the classical world. Today is the home of a large public university, the University of Georgia, with over 40,000 students. It's been named one of the best college towns and is recognized for its thriving music scene. It's the birthplace of many well-known rock bands, including a mega-popular band from the 1990s, REM. But we are here to learn about the Cobb family, the most influential family in Georgia at the time. When we visited Milledgeville, we learned about Governor Howell Cobb and explored the governor's mansion where he governed from 1851 to 1853. He had a younger brother, Thomas Cobb. Thomas was also a lawyer, and both graduated from the University of Georgia. In this video, we'll visit Thomas Cobb House Museum, built in 1839.
Is the original Thomas Reed Roots, who the T.R.R. comes from in Tom's name. This is Tom's maternal grandfather. He lived in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is where Tom Cobb, our Tom Cobb, died at the Battle of Fredericksburg. The Lucy Cobb Institute was school for girls that got started because Tom and Hal's sister Laura wrote a letter to the editor signed "A Mother," requesting that somebody start a school for girls so that they could have somewhere to attend. She knew that Tom would read it, and if she just asked Tom to start up the school, he wouldn't listen to her. But if he read it in the newspaper, then he would. So he did. He did the fundraising for it, and then Lucy was their oldest daughter and was supposed to attend the school, but she died in 1857 of scarlet fever. So they named the school for her, and it's now the Carl Vinson Institute of Government over on Millage Avenue.
That's a beautiful portrait.
Mm-hmm.
Is this Lucy?
That's Sally. That's Sally Cobb Jackson on her wedding day. We just had that one conserved last year.
That's just a stunning picture.
It looked great beforehand, and then the conservation really brought out the gold in the frame and really cleared up. The little statuette by the window was one of a few biblical scenes that Howell and Mary Ann Cobb had in their homes. And this one is Isaac and Rebecca at the well. And then in the library, we'll see Moses in the rushes. The furnishings over here belong to Wilson Lumpkin, who was Marion, Tom's wife's uncle. He was another governor of Georgia. The table in the middle belonged to Howell Cobb, and it is a Meeks Brothers table, and they were famous furniture makers. And it's a turtle top table. The top is meant to look like a turtle. And you can see.
It's impressive. All the details. I love this old furniture.
And the family portrait right there is a copy. We just received the original from a family member, so we're going to get it fixed up, but we'll probably leave this one on display because the other one is much smaller. But it is a photograph that was colorized at the time period, so that's why it looks slightly off, is because it's been blown up and colorized. This portrait was made in 1856, so it's the year before Lucy passed away. Lucy is the girl in the green dress with Tom's arm around her. She was Tom's favorite. Sally is in the blue dress. She's the one who's also in the wedding portrait. And then Callie is in the peachy colored dress with her arm around Marion. There's one more daughter who was born in 1860, whose name was Marion, but her nickname was Birdie, and that's what everybody always called her. And they also had 2 sons. They both passed away before the age of 2. And then this portrait over here is Birdie. Her real name was Marion. She's the daughter who was born in 1860. She was born after Lucy's death, and when she was born, Tom Cobb kept referring to her as his little bird, so that's why the nickname Birdie stuck. She went on to marry Hoke Smith, who was another governor of Georgia, also Secretary of the Interior under Grover Cleveland, and also a senator.
And who is this?
Oh, that is Sally and Callie right there.
Is this original wallpaper?
The wallpaper is not original. It is designs from the period and has been hung the same way that it was done in the 1850s, which is to put a layer of linen up before you put the wallpaper up. We do know that every room was wallpapered. We tried doing some sort of analysis, but nobody was able to figure out exactly what designs went in. So the carpets are also not original. They are still period designs and put in the exact same way that they were done in the 1850s, with the exception of the carpet that is in the Ether octagon that we'll get to, and I'll explain more about it when we get in there. Okay. This piano belonged to Mary Ann Cobb, who is Howell's wife, and this is the piano that they had at the old governor's mansion. It's a rosewood piano. That fan right there belonged to Mary Ann Cobb, and that's Mary Ann's portrait right there. She is the wife of Governor Cobb. She wore the dress that's right there when she was meeting the Prince of Wales.
This is her dress?
She helped plan for a party for the Prince of Wales when he came to visit America, when Howell was the Secretary of Treasury. This was in October of 1860.
This is a beautiful dress, and this is all handmade, right?
Yes, this dress came from England. Description underneath her dress is her writing about the party with the Prince of Wales that
So
came
well
to visit.
preserved. I'm just impressed. It's perfect. It's almost like it was worn once, maybe. And
Yes, actually, I believe other family members ended up wearing it.
okay.
The stains that are on it are, the conservator said, most likely champagne stains, and she wrote about that in her letter. She was 4 months pregnant with her 12th child wearing this dress. Yes, it would have required a very good corset, but if you look at it from an angle, you can actually see how the paneling kind of comes out, so it would potentially hide a pregnancy. And then this is the dining room. This one was added on in 1847, and it's outfitted for a dinner party, so that's why the chairs are all up against the wall like this.
Okay.
An enslaved person would have walked around and given everybody a plate, and then a cup and saucer, and you'd be expected to not spill anything, or else you'd never be invited to another party in town ever again.
This is the most beautiful chandelier I've ever seen, I think.
China with the C's on it, that was a gift from the Georgia government to Howell Cobb when he was done being governor. And then this piece right here is a condiment holder, I guess. Don't have my glove on, but it's spin that way and it opens like so.
Wonderful. I've never seen anything like it.
I hadn't either. And there's different designs all the way around. Some have pheasants, some have fish, some different kinds of, I guess, fruit and vegetables. Most of the pieces that we try to collect here, if we don't know if they have a direct connection to the Cobbs, we try and get it from no further away than Charleston. That piece we know for a fact Tom Cobb had, though.
Okay.
Howell Cobb, because he moved a lot, he had a lot of inventory, so that's why we have a lot more of Hal Cobb's pieces because we just have a lot more evidence of what all he had and can prove a lot more of it. But his inventories usually contained multiple pages of alcohol that was moving with him. Tom Cobb, on the other hand, is the exact opposite and was basically a teetotaler. And Hal and Marianne gifted Tom a bottle of wine at some point, and Tom wrote back a thank you letter saying, "Thank you, this will last me a very, very long time." So we keep the corkscrew as a nod to that story of how the wine bottle probably lasted him a very, very long time. So this is the one carpet that is the original design in the entire house. We were able to track down a receipt. The company still exists in London, and they were able to help us get it remade and put into place here. The looms no longer use the same size, so we actually were able to find a company that still uses the same size loom. And then it all has to be hand sewed into place.
Oh my gosh.
And you can see at least one of them is T.R.R. Cobb's Laws of Georgia.
Yes.
He is the one who codified Georgia law. And Georgia is the first state to have laws codified. So
Interesting. I didn't know that.
this is Tom's sitting room. That portrait is of Lucy, and it is a mourning portrait. It was done after her death. At the time, anybody walking in this room would have known that this girl was very important to Tom and had died because it's full of symbolism. One of them being that she's painted in pink. She has a black bow on her shoulder. The black dog next to her is supposed to be a spiritual guide, and the white mark on his chest is supposed to be the mark of God. The basket of books next to her is because she wanted to be a teacher before she died. Then the book that she's holding must have been important either to her or to Tom after her death, because the artist made sure to write the name of the book on the back side of it. And it is Flowers of the Family. We were able to get a second edition copy of it, and it's right there. The main character's name is Lucy, and it deals with death. And then right behind her, you can see the house.
Is that this house?
That's this house at its original location on at 194 Prince Avenue. All of the shutters are closed with the exception of this one for this room right here, and that was supposed to be so that the spirit could escape. And this was the way that we knew that the shutters were green. The portrait over there is Tom and Lucy reading a book. Like I said, Tom thought of Lucy as his favorite child, so he made sure to spend a lot of extra time with her and was very heartbroken when she died.
Yeah, I can imagine. What she died of? She looks
She
so
died of
healthy.
scarlet fever, and it went through, there was a big epidemic here in town. All three of the daughters caught it. She's the only one who died. She knew that she was dying, and she wrote a poem called Death, and that's the poem right there.
Alas, farewell, my mother dear. How broken is my heart to know that you and I will soon be called to part. Alas, farewell, my father dear. I must go, to walk the streets of shining gold, to wear a robe of snow. Oh, do not cry, my mother dear. You make me feel so bad to see that little trembling tear roll down your cheek, so sad. Alas, farewell, my father dear. The parting word I sigh. I cannot speak another word. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.
A visit to a cemetery is an overwhelming experience for some because you know that there is an interesting story behind every gravestone that it's either forgotten or is slowly fading away. It's important to record every story because collectively it's a story that made this beautiful and free country that we all enjoy today. The Cobb family was rich and influential, but their prominence couldn't save them from tragic events that started even before the Civil War, with Lucy's death in 1857. Both brothers, Howell and Thomas, were firm supporters of secession from the Union. Tom used his influence to reassure people that there would be no war if Georgia seceded. Howell Cobb presided over the secession conference in 1661 in Montgomery, Alabama, and Thomas was the leading contributor to the Confederacy Constitution. Only 2 years later, Thomas was killed in the Battle of Fredericksburg, Virginia. Howell Cobb continued to fight until the last days of the war and tried to organize a hopeless defense of Columbus, Georgia. Only a few days later, he surrendered in Macon, Georgia, on April 20th, 1865. The Union Army continued its march towards the sea and camped one night near Howell's plantation in Milledgeville. When Sherman learned whose house it was, he decided to dine in former slave's cabin. The house was burned down and property confiscated. Howell Cobb received a presidential pardon in 1868 but died the same year at the age of 53 while vacationing in no other place than New York City. It's unfortunate that the Cobb brothers decided on the political path that caused over 620,000 lives, so they will not be remembered in a positive light. However, I will remember Lucy in her heartbreaking poem. Today, scarlet fever is a rare disease affecting fewer than 20,000 children annually in the US and is easily treated with antibiotics. Lucy's tragic story reminds us that even the rich and powerful can't escape life's struggles and disappointments. This message is so beautifully crafted in a song by R.E.M., Everybody Hurts.